Assalamu alaikum, student. This is our second lecture or introduction to polymer chemistry. As in the last lecture, we have studied its introduction. We know that polymer is a very important branch of chemistry. The world will be a totally different place without polymers. We are living in the world of polymer. And then we have moved towards definition of monomers. Monomers, they are a single part which are used in polymerization process to prepare polymer. Polymers are complex chain macromolecule which are made from the repeating unit which are derived from small molecule. That small molecule is nothing but your monomer. Then we have studied classification of polymer. In classification of polymer, we have studied classification based on source or origin, in that natural, in natural again plant and animal, then synthetic polymer, semi-synthetic polymer. Then classification based on structure, it is linear, branch chain, cross-link. Classification based on intermolecular forces, in that elastomers, fibers, thermoplastic, thermosetting. Then classification based on mode of polymerization process, in that addition, condensation polymerization, and ring opening polymer. Then the last classification, which is based on second last classification, which is based on types of monomers, in that homopolymers and copolymer. And the last classification is your biodegradability, based on biodegradability, in that biodegradable and non-biodegradable polymer. These all things we have studied in detail in our last lecture. Today we are going to study polymerization technique, that is your free radical polymerization. It is your addition polymerization. It is your chain polymerization. In this, student, addition of free radical or chain coat polymerization. As we know that many units of monomer will undergo polymerization process and then it get converted into polymer. So how these monomers get converted into polymers? Here in addition polymerization, there are steps involved in formation of addition polymer. The first step is your initiation. Before initiation, your radical formation will take place. Your initiator, that is your catalyst, they will break down into radical under certain condition, heat or light. Now these radical will undergo initiation. In the slide you see, student, that is your RR, that is your initiator, that is your catalyst, will break down into 2R, and it is your active site and it will form radical. In the first step, that is your initiation, your radical, that is your 2R, will react with any of the ethene monomer. As soon as this radical will react with the monomer, the double bond of monomer will be converted into single bond, and one of the carbon will link to the radical and the other carbon will become unstable. As the other carbon will become unstable, it will develop the charge on it, that is a red, it will form into radical, and that carbon will be the initiated. Fine. Then the next step is your propagation. In propagation, this initiation radical will react with the another molecule of monomer, and that the double bond again will be converted into single bond. That carbon will link with the radical carbon, and that radical carbon will become stable. Further, the charge will propagate. Propagate means to move forward. That radical charge has been moved forward to the next carbon, that is your last carbon. Fine. Then the last step is your termination. Here two radical, the two radical will merge together. Here one radical has been there and the another radical. The two radical will merge together, and then both will stabilize each other by forming bond with each other, and then it get converted into polymer. These are the name of the initiator, that is a catalyst, which are used in addition polymerization or free radical polymerization or chain growth polymerization process. Tertiary butyl peroxide. In the structure you say tertiary butyl is there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tertiary butyl and peroxide is there. Fine. This is your tertiary butyl peroxide. Another one is your acetyl peroxide. CH3, C double bond O, C double bond O, CH3. In your textbook, the reaction is proceed with acetyl peroxide. And the last one catalyst is your benzoyl peroxide. Your benzene ring is there, C double bond O, C double bond O, then benzene ring. These are the initiators which are using in free radical polymerization process. Now let's see in detail what is free radical polymerization and how the mechanism is going on. Free radical mechanism is most common in addition polymerization. Fine, it is mostly undergo in addition polymerization. It is also called chain reaction, which involve three distinct steps. Obviously, one reactant will link with the another, and the chain is proceeding. And here it involves three distinct steps. All the three steps are different. First step is a chain initiation, where the monomer is being initiated and it develops free radical on it. Then chain propagation, that in which the monomer will propagate the free radical on the next monomer, and then the chain termination. In this step, the free radical will be terminated and that monomer will be getting converted into polymer. Now first step, that is your chain initiation step. The chain reaction is initiated by a free radical. Obviously, we have studied that the chain reaction is being initiated by free radical, and that initiator, that is a catalyst such as benzoyl peroxide, acetyl peroxide, tertiary butyl peroxide, etc. can be used to produce free radical. Here in the example, we see we have taken acetyl peroxide, CH3, that is the acetyl, C double bond O, peroxide, O, C double bond O, CH3. This is the structure of acetyl peroxide. This acetyl peroxide, do you see a bond between oxygen and oxygen? As you make a slanting line in between them, you see that both are the mirror image of each other, and the bond will break from that side between oxygen and oxygen, and then it get converted into 2 CH3, C double bond O, and this oxygen is become unstable. This oxygen will develop free radical over here. Now the reaction will proceed. Now this intermediate compound will liberate carbon dioxide. The CO2 will be liberated out. How many molecules of CO2 will be liberated out? 2 molecules of CO2 will be liberated out. Now this CH3 will become unstable. Now this CH3 will develop free radical on it, and that name of that free radical is your methyl radical. Here student, acetyl peroxide will getting converted into methyl radical. We are obtaining here methyl free radical. Now these methyl free radical will initiate the monomer. Let's see how. The free radical R, here we have taken R, that is a CH3, we have formed CH3 methyl radical. So form attach itself to the olefin vinyl monomer. This is the vinyl monomer. Find CH2 double bond CH. Y. We can take in place of Y any of the, we can take Cl, we can take vinyl chloride, we can take H, that is your ethene, we can take any of the monomer and produce a new radical made up of two parts, namely the attached radical and the monomer unit. Now here you see student, your free radical R, fine, that is a methyl radical we have formed from acetyl peroxide. That methyl radical or the any of the free radical will react with vinyl monomer. What is happening over here? Vinyl monomer double bond will be converted into a single bond. Fine. That single bond. Now both the, as the single bond is formed, both the carbon will become unstable. These carbon, see one of the carbon linked with the free radical R, you see in the product, in the reaction. When free radical is reacted with vinyl monomer, CH2, one of the CH2 will link with the free radical and both that carbon and free radical will become stable. Now free radical has been transferred to the monomer carbon. Now new radical has been formed in the first step. In the first step, the monomer is being initiated and free radical has been developed on the monomer carbon. The second step is the chain propagation step. The new radical formed in the reaction, that is the initiation step, will further react with another molecule of vinyl monomer, forming another bigger size radical, which in turn react with another monomer molecule. The repetition of this sequence take place very rapidly. It is called chain propagation. Initiate means to start. Now your monomer has been initiated, free radical has been start on it. Free radical has been formed on that monomer. Now that monomer will initiate, will propagate. That monomer will propagate. That monomer free radical will propagate further to the another monomer molecule. Here in the reaction we have taken RCH2, that CH free radical has been developed on this carbon Y. This reactant we have obtained from the first step, and then it has been reacted with the another vinyl monomer. Here we have taken n numbers, any numbers of monomers we are going to take. N numbers means it numbers is not confirmed, you can take any of the numbers depending upon the reaction. Now these both will reactant will react, and then we are getting R, CH2, CHY, n numbers, and that free radical has been transferred to the end of the monomer carbon. You are seeing that it has been transferred to the end of the monomer carbon. Remember, this is very rapid step and leads to high molecular mass radical. Obviously, it will, as it is getting bigger size radical, its molecular mass will be high. The last step is a chain termination step. Ultimately, at some stage, termination of the growing chains will take place. It may occur by several processes. One mode of termination is by combination of two growing chain radical. Here in your syllabus, combination method has been given. So here we are taking two free radical monomer, take two free radical monomer. Here charge one monomer of free radicals are CH2, CHY, n number CH2, CHY free radical has been developed. on that carbon that will react with the another same free radical monomer, and that both the free radical carbon will form a bond, and there will be termination of the growing chains. Here you see, student, in the product it has been, the reactant has been converted into R CH2 CH1 N plus 1. Why N plus 1? Because here N plus 1 we are going to take, add both of them, both of the monomer. Here N plus 1, it will link with the another reactant monomer and we are getting polymer. Here we have completed free radical polymerization process. We are moving forward towards rubber. What do you mean by rubber? Rubber are properly known as elastomers. That is, your elastomers are properly known as rubber. Your balloons, shoe soles, tires, claws, surgeon's claws, garden hose, etc. They are nothing but made from elastomeric material or rubber. In rubber, further, we are going to study about natural rubber. In the screen, you see, student, the structure of natural rubber, and you are going to you have seeing that we are obtaining it from the tree. So your natural rubber is formed from monomer, and that monomer is obtained from natural source, and that is your isoprene. You see the structure of isoprene: CH2 double bond C, CH3, CH double bond CH2. This is the structure of isoprene. And this natural rubber is a high molecular mass. It is your linear polymer of isoprene. One isoprene, that is one monomer, will link with the another monomer, will further link with the another monomer, and it undergo linear process. And here it undergo addition polymerization of isoprene. The monomer will link with the another monomer, and further it will give you polymer without loss of any of the small molecule. Yet its molecular mass varies from 130,000 unified mass to 340,000 unified mass. That is, numbers of monomer unit required for the preparation of natural rubber varies from 2000 to 5000. Yes, student, natural rubber is a natural polymer as it is obtained from latex, which is a milk-like liquid that that comes out from the bark of the rubber tree when it is cutted. When the rubber tree is cutted, we are obtaining the latex, which is coming out from the bark of the tree, and it is in colloidal suspension form. This latex is mixture of rubber particle and water. Formula of natural rubber is C5H8N, where N is about 10,000. Monomer of natural rubber is C5H8, known as isoprene or 2-methyl. How it is known as 2-methyl? See, in the as per IUPAC nomenclature, second carbon, first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, starting from the left hand side. First carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon. Second carbon contain methyl group, and first carbon and the third carbon contain double bond. So 2-methyl bute, how many number of parent carbon is there? 4. At the second carbon methyl group is there, so 2-methyl. And how many number of carbon is there? 4. Parent carbon 4 is there, so 2-methyl bute, and double bond is formed as first and third carbon, so 2-methyl bute 1,3-diene. Each monomer has 2 double bond and thus known as diene, as in the structure of monomer you see two double bond is present, so it is known as diene. Now let's see how natural rubber is formed. The monomer unit for natural rubber is what? It is your isoprene. And what is your IUPAC name for isoprene? It is 2-methyl-but-1,3-diene. And what is the structure, student? It is your CH2 double bond C. At the second carbon, CH3 group is there. That is your methyl group is there. Then CH double bond CH2. This is the structure of isoprene. This isoprene, this monomer will undergo an addition polymerization in which thousands of isoprene units join together to form polyisoprene. Polyisoprene, which is your natural rubber. Here seeing the reaction, n numbers of isoprene will undergo polymerization process, and that n numbers will be about 10,000. These isoprene and numbers of isoprene will undergo polymerization process, and then it will give you the natural rubber. See in the structure of natural rubber and the structure of isoprene, there is a difference between the position of double bond. In isoprene, two double bond is there and it is your diene. In the natural rubber, a single double bond is there. As this carbon is become opening, it branch to link with the first carbon. To link with the another monomer molecule, the double bond is getting converted into a single bond. And the fourth carbon, again, it is linking with the another monomer molecule. So the linking is taking place, and here the double bond is converting into a single bond. The second and the third carbon will become unstable. The double bond will be formed at the second and third carbon. Here student, the linking is taking place at C1 and C4. At which position the linking is taking place? It is taking place at C1 and C4. So it is also known as 1,4-polyisoprene. Why it is known as 1,4-polyisoprene? Because the linking is taking place at C1 and C4 with the another monomer unit of isoprene. Now student, remember, natural rubber is obtained from cis isoprene. What do you mean by cis? When double bond will be at the same time. When the similar group are present on the same side, it is known as cis. So when the double bond, that is a CH2 in the structure of isoprene, when the double bond, that is a CH2 is present at the same side, that is a cis isoprene, and this cis isoprene will undergo polymerization process and then it will give you polyisoprene. Whereas trans isoprene, when CH2 double bond CH2 is being placed at the different site, then it will give you trans polyisoprene, which is non-elastic in nature, which is crystalline in nature, and it is popularly known as gutta-percha polymer. Fine. Cis isoprene will give you polyisoprene, that is your natural rubber, while trans isoprene will undergo polymerization and it will give trans polyisoprene, and it is popularly known as gutta-percha. So here we are moving forward towards property of natural rubber. Here polyisoprene molecule has cis configuration. As in the last slide I have said that your isoprene will be cis configuration, in which the C double bond C will be on the same side. So cis polyisoprene will give you natural rubber. They consist of various chains held together by weak van der Waals forces. Here weak van der Waals forces will be present between the molecule, and each structure has coiled structure. It possesses the property of elasticity, that means it can be stretched like a spring. We apply force, it will be stretched like a spring, and when we relax it, it regain its origin position, that is, it exhibit elasticity property. We are moving forward towards vulcanization of rubber. What do you mean by vulcanization of rubber? Here rubber is there. To the rubber, we are applying some method to improve its physical property, that is known as vulcanization. When the physical property of natural rubber is being changed, is being improved to a higher quality, that process is known as vulcanization. Here in the image you see that natural rubber is there, and that natural rubber is being converted into a tire, that is your vulcanized tire. To make the natural rubber more strong, why it has been natural rubber has been converted into vulcanized rubber? To make the natural rubber more strong, tough and elasticity, that is the changing its physical property or to improve its physical property. In the year 1839, Charles Goodyear, he is an American inventor who invented the process of vulcanization. Now, the process by which a network of crosslink is introduced into an elastomer is called vulcanization. As we know, here rubber possesses the property of elasticity. So to these elastomers, it means they are elastomers. To these elastomers, a network of cross-linked structure is being introduced. That is your vulcanization. So this is the definition of vulcanization, the process by which a network of cross-link is introduced into an elastomers is your vulcanization. Here, why we are doing vulcanization process? As we know, to improve its physical property, to enhance the property like its tensile strength, stiffness, elasticity, toughness, etc. of whom that is your natural rubber. Here, sulfur vulcanization is the most frequently used process. Means your rubber is being reacted with sulfur, and sulfur vulcanization will take place, and then it get converted into vulcanized rubber. Sulfur form crosslink between polyisoprene chain. Your natural rubber is your isoprene. That is your, it has been made from isoprene that and get converted into polyisoprene chain. Now this polyisoprene chain structure, sulfur will form crosslink, which result in improved property of natural rubber. Now polyisoprene structure, in it sulfur will form a crosslink between the polyisoprene chain, and it does result in improved property of natural rubber. Here you see student, vulcanization process is taking place by heating raw rubber with sulfur compound in presence of some organic compound called accelerator at about 150 degrees Celsius. Now your initiator is your ZBX, where natural rubber is reacted with sulfur, and the reaction is taking place at 150 degrees Celsius in the presence of initiator, that is your ZBX, which is known as zinc butyl xanthate. ZBX is your zinc butyl xanthate. Fine student, then it get converted into vulcanized rubber, and by increasing, as we know, the proportion of sulfur will differ depending upon which type of vulcanized rubber we want. By increasing the quantity or the amount of sulfur, the rubber will be getting more and more hardened. When the amount of sulfur is raised to 40 to 45%, a non-elastic hard material known as ebonite is formed. 40 to 45% of sulfur will give you non-elastic rubber, that is your ebonite. One or more sulfur atom cross-link two polyisomer chains. Cross-linking takes place by opening of a double bond and produce three-dimensional vulcanized rubber. Where does sulfur react? The sulfur react at the double bond position of polyisoprene, and it will form three-dimensional vulcanized rubber. The probable structure for vulcanized rubber is this one. Now student, how the proportion of sulfur in the vulcanization process of rubber will give you different vulcanized rubber. Low sulfur rubber is made with 1 to 3%. When in the vulcanization process we take 1 to 3% of sulfur, it will give you vulcanized rubber which is used in making rubber bands. We are using rubber bands in our day-to-day life. When the proportion of sulfur is 1 to 3%, it will give you rubber bands. Whereas when the proportion is 20 to 30%, as we know, as the proportion of sulfur is going to increase, that vulcanized rubber will going to become more and more hard. As the proportion is here, it is 20 to 30%. We are getting what we are getting? We are getting hard rubber, that is your tires. 3 to 10% sulfur, 20 to 30% sulfur is getting hard. 3 to 10% sulfur is little harder when it is used in making tires. Remember student, 1 to 3% we are getting rubber bands, 3 to 10% we are getting tires, 20 to 30% the rubber made with 20 to 30% is getting more and more harder. For the 40 to 45% we are getting non-elastic rubber, that is your ebonite. Now here student, we have completed with free radical polymerization, natural rubber, a preparation, property, vulcanization of rubber. Hope you all have understood. This is a very easiest chapter. Go through it, study well, do your best. Thank you.